Do you want to make 200 to 300% more profit every time you sell an item on the flea market? Well, quit undercutting people, dipshit. I'm going to show you guys how to properly list your items so they sell in a timely manner, but you get 200 to 300% more profit, as well as spend less time selling items on the flea market. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around. If you guys enjoy this video at all, make sure to smash that dislike button and tell me to kill myself in the comments down below. Let's begin.
Whoa! Fucking God.
I headshot him. Headshot the last one. They're all dead. So I didn't have this video planned. It was actually inspired by my Twitch chat, and they were asking me, why do I sort my stash the way that I do, and why do I sell items on the flea market for so much? Like, how do people even buy them? Do people only buy them because I'm a streamer slash YouTuber slash internet superstar, internet sensation? And I realized a lot of veteran players had no idea that you can sell items on the flea market for around 200 to 300% of the going rate. Now, how is that possible? Well, it's a few factors, and we're gonna cover them all in this video. And if you make it all the way to the end of the video, I'm gonna tell you guys a very specific time slot to sell your items to make an extra 50% profit. Each of the things I'm telling you to do is like a little tip, and it'll increase the value of what you're selling on the flea market by like 40 to 50%. Now, I'm not selling Gamer Boy farts in a jar, but I'm giving value to the consumer. Now, this is starting to sound like some sort of fucking weird e-commerce infomercial where I want you to give me $99 every single month, as well as your firstborn child. But the main factors that are going to increase the value of your items on the flea market are the quantity, the time you sell, understanding the demand for the item at that point during the wipe, as well as understanding where the prices like to spike to. Now, these sound super complicated, but it's actually really, really simple. All right, so now I've pulled you guys into my stash. Now, one of the big ways to increase the value of your items on the flea market is to save a lot of those items. Now, how do we do that? So you'll see I have a dump box in the top of my stash right there. And let's say my name is, I don't know, Hyper Rat, and I just got done playing labs. We have a donation goal for $5,000 for me to get a fucking haircut. And for some reason, people think that's a great deal. So I just finished my little labs run here, and I'm gonna go ahead, put everything in my stash, and then just go ahead and put this into the dump box and get in there and go grab more loot. It's all about efficiency and getting back in there as we save up large amounts of all of these items. At the end of the day, let's say you fill up your dump box, and you're gonna come down here and move them into your sorted other boxes. Now, this one's actually a tech box. It's just called Twitch Prime because I'm a fucking cringe ass. But you would sort all your tech items into your tech box and into your industrial box. Now, this method doesn't require a lot of overhead. I play all day, so I have 3 boxes, but you could probably do this with just a single box. And a great strategy to use is just come over here to Therapist, level 2, and save up 100 level 10 dog tags, and you can get one for free. So let's say we've been playing all day, and I have my dump box is entirely full. I'm gonna start sorting all the items into their respected boxes. And once I have a large amount of items in my stash, let's say here, I have a ton of capacitors right here. So we have those in there as well as in our dump box. So let's grab all of our capacitors here. Now we have a high volume of capacitors to put onto the flea market. Now, why is having a large volume of items super nice for the flea market? Well, let's go look at, I don't know, let's say meds as an example here. So have you ever been on the flea market and let's say you're perusing, you see, okay, this guy has his pile of meds, he has 6 of them for 8,000, and you're like, you know, that's a good deal, I will buy your meds. And then you get this annoying offer. A lot of players get pretty frustrated with this. They catch on fastly that these items have a high turnover rate, and generally they need to buy all the way down here. Now, the gap on these items right here is only 500 rubles, but on some items this is 5,000 rubles. So look at this first and foremost. Now, why else is having a high volume of items important when you sell? Once again, let's go back to our capacitors here. So capacitors might not be the greatest examples. You'll see a lot of these guys are selling high volumes of capacitors. But another big reason is because when you use these items, upgrading your stash, you might need 20 capacitors right now. And you don't want to be that guy. It's like, oh, I need to buy one more capacitor, and it's just sitting here refreshing and refreshing. You'll see a lot of these guys have saved a lot of capacitors. Like one of these guys has 45 up here. That's quite a bit. That's quite out of the norm. You won't see that very often. And we're going to grab power cords instead as a better example of this item, because capacitors don't really fluctuate as much, and that is another very important part of what we're talking about today. So we're going to go ahead and look at our power cords today. So I have, let's say, 10 power cords, and you'll see people, they don't save as many power cords for some reason. Now we only have a single page of power cords listed right now. Why is that? Well, someone was upgrading their hideout, probably their Bitcoin farm, and they bought up all the way to around 30,000 rubles. If we refresh, someone else is also buying up, and we're now watching the power cord market get spiked up, right? And you'll see people continue to relist. Why did this guy go ahead and list for 19,000 when the going rate was 25,000, right? These are all going to get bought up, and this guy's will be bought up right away. This guy is an ADHD monkey who just wants his 19,000 rubles so he can afford another Makarov to go give it to the scavs. What you want to do and look here, now there's not a huge sample size, but what you will notice is none of these offers are low on time. Usually you'll see someone that knows they're doing the flea market with a high flea market rep selling a decent chunk of items for an expensive amount, and they will always get that amount. So what you can do, let's say that COD right here had 50 flea market rep, he had 20 power cords, and he was really confident that he was gonna get 40,000 rubles for these power cords. You list yours for 39,999. We're gonna continue to refresh, and look at that. That is now spiked all the way up once again. So we're actually gonna put our power cords in here, lead by example here at 39,999. And guess what? They're not gonna sell instantly. They won't sell in the first 30 seconds. You know what will happen is you've just sold 10 items, you've made a bunch of space in your scav box, and you're gonna go play another raid. And when you get out of that raid, those items will have spiked back up, sold for that 39,999. Look at that. They're already selling right now. This is 5 seconds afterwards, right? But you're not an ADHD monkey. You're not gonna sell for half the value of an item. I see so many people making that mistake. And why don't we quickly go look at another item just to show you guys where to buy at, because that wasn't a huge sample size. So let's look at electric motors. Electric motors are an item that likes to spike a lot as well. And you don't need to like have background knowledge on this. Like, I don't sit here looking at fucking charts of electric motors. I don't care about virtual currency unless it's cryptocurrency. You know what I'm saying? So here we see this guy decided to cancel his order. That's why it's at 40 seconds. You won't see that very often, but you will see a lot of people have things listed for different times. And that's because you can list things for different times. But now we look over here. This was also canceled right here. This is the same guy actually, but this one's at 6 hours. You see, these ones actually have started ticking down. Now these guys only have a single electric motor up. They listed it for way too much, and they're just hoping. They're hoping that this spikes all the way up. And if we come all the way to the last page, we're on the page 3 now. This is where it looks like it never actually spiked high enough, around the 129,000 mark. So you would probably be good to sell your motors at around 119,000. Now, why are we not going to list it for 128,999 right here? Because we don't want to be greedy. This guy, someone saw this single motor from DC who has a 0 flea market rep and was like, okay, I'm not paying 130,000 rubles for your stupid virtual motor, kid. Right? That was the point. That was a quit moment for someone right there. And you don't want to be listed at that quit moment. You want to be just below it, where someone is, you're really giving someone cock and ball torture as they buy your fucking electric motors for each one of their firstborn children. I mean, all of their children, right? So you might want to list around 119,000. Or let's say sometimes it's good to say, okay, you know, maybe we'll have like 20 different electric motors between 119,000 and 110,000. So maybe we just want to go further down the list for the sake of efficiency. We're not being an ADHD monkey, but we're going to go forward 3 pages by just listing our electric motors for, let's say, around 97,000 rubles. And we'll be going to be way closer to the front, and we're more likely to sell in a single raid. Now, if you're going to bed, you can list higher, maybe get 30K more per electric motor. And this is where it's really nice to save up a large amount of these items, because you can put 20 electric motors on the flea market, but it's still only 1 slot on the flea market. Have you ever seen, you have a friend that goes, is like, oh, I just finished raid. I need to sell 1 capacitor. Oh, I need to sell this 1 spark plug. I need to sell this 1. Don't be that. You're not playing the game. You're just sitting here playing Flea Market Simulator, and you suck at it. I want to be honest. That's your friend Cal here telling you you suck at playing the flea market. Don't get into stocks. Don't quit your fucking day job. Now that I'm done belittling you and making you feel fucking stupid, This is why I plug my membership program. Now, if you guys hit the join button down below, or there'll be a link in the description or the top pinned comment, guess what? This is called Hideout and Quest items. It should be called the membership fun box. If you want any of these items and you're a member, go ahead and let me know. You can have them. Just hit me up on Discord. It's no big deal. I appreciate you guys' support. Now we've covered the importance of selling items at quantity, not being an ADHD monkey, and understanding how items like to spike. Now we need to talk about not really an abstract concept, but a concept that's not as important, and that is wipe cycle demand. So we're about a month into this wipe, right? The prices of sugar over the last week have gone from 10,000 rubles to 70,000 rubles. Why is that? Because players want moonshine. The same thing's happening with water filters and air filters. Every player now has these in their hideout. And as the wipe gets further and further and further along, these late game items are going to be worth more and more and more. Now, if you want to come out really on top, maybe don't sell these items right now. Maybe continue to build up a stash of 30 water filters or 20 sugars and then sell them a couple weeks from now. You'll still be amassing a large pile of them and you'll come out way more on top. So if you don't need the rubles right away, go ahead and save those items. Now for me, I don't really care that much about rubles, but as a great strategy to make an item worth 3 or 4 times more just by sitting on it. Hopefully you guys understand how to make 200 to 300% more profit on the flea market. Now there's one caveat to this, is this will not work generally for items like, let's say, a LED-X. There's not a huge demand for a LED-X. You can spike it up, but you'll see here, how much difference do we have between, let's say, the first listing on the first page and the last listing? It is like 10,000 rubles on an item that already costs 1,000,000 rubles. So with these high value items that don't spike up and down, they don't have a lot of people buying them, I wouldn't worry about it, and I would just get the money when you get these items. You don't have to save these items. You're not being an ADHD monkey. Just don't be this guy. Why is this guy selling this for 50,000 rubles less? I don't know. Don't be that guy. These items will just sell. Just insert yours at 989,999 right here. You're at the top of the page and you might lose 5,000 rubles, but you're making 1,000,000 rubles. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about saving up LED-X's. I hope that goes without saying. But all right, so now we've made it all the way towards the end of the video. I told you guys, if you made it to the end of the video, I would tell you guys the best time to sell your items for around 50% more. And that is around 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. Central Standard Time. I believe if you're GMT, that'll put you somewhere around very early morning, like between 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. But at this period, a lot of players from NA are getting off. And what do people do when they get off? They're like, oh, I need to get my hideout upgrade. My fucking sofa's kind of lumpy. I need a new Playboy poster on there. Yeah, I'm going to need to buy 10 graphics cards to upgrade this sofa. And they go and buy their 10 graphics cards and they get off. Well, the items are spiking a lot at this time. This is their peak spike. And guess what? There's not as much supply for it. EU have been sleeping. They have not been collecting. They've not been doing a good job rubling. And the only people on are the Russians and the Australians. And the Australian player base is like Pestilli and his fucking dad. And the Russian player base is actually pretty small in comparison to the North American demographic. So if you sell during this time, what I'd recommend is, before you go to bed, before you put your kids to sleep, before you're getting ready for go to school tomorrow, just go ahead and sell, big chunks of items. Whatever item you have the most of at that time, sell those items and just go to bed at that time. And you're gonna make 50% more rubles. Now you can't choose to use items that spike a lot more. Like if I'm gonna go to bed, maybe I will go list all my electric motors for that 120K and I'll wake up to a couple million rubles, no big deal. Maybe I won't sell capacitors, because what we saw earlier is capacitors don't spike that much. I mean, you have this guy, Spook, who just took the fucking time out of his day to go list a capacitor for 1,200 rubles. I don't even think he can buy a fucking bandage for 1,200 rubles. You can't buy a bandage for 1,200 rubles, bro. What are you doing, Spook? If anyone knows Spook, please link him in this video. That man is a certified ADHD monkey. And with that, guys, I'll see you guys all in the live stream. I'll see you guys all on the Discord. If you're looking for people to play with, join my Discord. There's 6,000 members in there. Bunch of cool guys. I like to ban all the fucking weirdos. And hopefully this video helped you guys. Make sure to smash that dislike button and tell me to kill myself down below. Peace out.